Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of UHS Presents Critical Affection. Let's crap on a TV show we love. So joining me again today is my special guest host, Julie. Hello, Julie.
Hello.
And Mike was going to be here today, and I know I told you all he was going to be here today, but he has some other stuff that he needs to take care of, so maybe we'll get him next time. We have been picking through every season of Netflix's Castlevania, the show that's been inspired by the very popular video game series, and we are going to point out every minor botched detail or unplugged plot hole that we can find today. And today we're focusing on episode 4. Season 4. See, I'm just going to keep doing this. We can't do TV shows anymore because I'm just going to keep doing that with mixing up the words episode and season. Anywho's, before we get to the bitching, I have the usual UHS news review. So the Backer Kit store, and I'm going to put that up here right now. Look at that fun little thing. Ooh. Isn't that spiff? Yeah. The Backer Kit store for Hot Brass Pharaoh's Gold is open now. So if you backed and you want to add stuff to your order, or if you missed the Kickstarter completely and you want to grab some of that merch, head on over to uhstudios.com/Kickstarter and hit the big blue pre-order now button, and you can see what's available. And you can still get most of the Hot Brass merch, I think. And you can get almost any of the UHS books, anything that we have in stock. I think it's all up there. And if you haven't had a chance to grab that stuff and you want it, now's your chance to get some and get it all in one order and save on shipping and all that. So we also, and this is the first time we've done this, we have included some projects that we at UHS love from other indie comic creators. And you can get some of that stuff too. So like I personally am going to get that Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter volumes. I think both volumes 1 and 2 are up there right now. And I missed it in the last Kickstarter that Russell Nolte, the creator, had. So I'm going to grab that for sure. And there's also some, and I wish I would have thought to put them up here. I wish I would have had time to do it because Matt Frank has some big prints up there with his Godzilla stuff, and it's really awesome. So go check it out and grab some of it while you can. We are also still trucking along on The Surgeon Chapter 4. I believe it's got just a couple pages left to color, and then it's done. So, yes. And The Unthinkables issue 2 is also trucking along, and we're getting real close to getting ready for that one. So you can check out uhstudios.com to see everything that we have currently available. Or like I said, I recommend going to the Backer Kit store if you are ready to buy it right this second. We are on Facebook at Unlikely Heroes Studios, and we also have a Facebook group there called Unlikely Heroes Studios Presents Awesome Comics and Other Cool Shit too. So you can join that to stay on top of the UHS news, and you can see work from other indie studios and creators, and you can participate in some fun threads where we talk about pop culture and comics and whatnot. And we're going to have a thing that we're going to be posting in that group for you later tonight that has to do with critical affection. So, I think that's it. Let's get back to the critical affection of Castlevania. If you missed the last episode, it is available to watch on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. And for Twitch, it's only available for like a couple of weeks. So if you want to watch it there, you got to do it soon. Now, it should go without saying, but if you have not seen any of Netflix's Castlevania, then I'm never going to get tired of that. So now that we have the little spoiler alert out of the way, let's get to it. And since this is the last season, I figured we will briefly rehash seasons 1 and 2 just because they were amazing. We're also obviously going to recap season 3 like we do every time. But first, I am going to check the comments. Astian says, hi. Well, that was a little it's like a little waving emoji, I think. Yeah. But hi. And yeah, Mike is super busy. Mike is the only person that I would say is as busy as Lori. Lori is always crazy busy, and Mike is at least that busy, possibly more. I don't know.
I was going to say,
I'm digging into their personal lives, so.
He was a very good multitasker.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what everybody who's ever watched him stream knows that. He's an excellent multitasker. So, all right. Okay. So let's go through season 1, rehash 2 quickly. And today Julie and I split up some of the talking stuff so that I don't have to go on. You guys don't have to listen to my voice for quite so much.
Making me work.
Sorry. All right, season 1. A young aspiring doctor named Lisa is driven by word of mouth stories to seek out the knowledge of a recluse in a fantastic mechanical castle. The recluse turns out to be the one and only Vlad Dracula Tepish, the legendary vampire master. Dracula agrees to Lisa's request, and eventually they fall in love, they marry, and they have a child together. They live in relative peace for 20-ish years until a corrupt bishop of the Catholic Church arrests Lisa for witchcraft while Dracula is away and executes her publicly. Dracula's rage and grief drive him to insanity, and he vows to exterminate the human race in revenge. 2 humans, Trevor, the disgraced survivor of the legendary Belmont family of monster hunters, and Sypha, a powerful but naive young magician, traveling with her tribe of scholars called Speakers, awaken Alucard, the hybrid son of Lisa and Dracula, who has been hibernating in the underground catacombs of the city of Greshit, and the trio decide that they must find and defeat Dracula to save humanity.
Okay. I'm just going to say right now, before I start my spiel on season 2, I got my septum pierced, so if you see me doing this, I'm sorry.
You're not picking your nose?
My nose, I'm like adjusting it, and it's like, I like fidget with it a lot, but anyway, okay. So, season 2. In season 2, we see Dracula's plan to destroy humanity realized with a large army of powerful vampire soldiers and generals, as well as hordes of demonic night creatures summoned from hell by 2 human magicians called Forge Masters, whom Dracula has befriended. Alucard struggles with his identity as he tries to come to terms with his decision that he must kill his own father as he, Trevor, and Sypha travel to Trevor's childhood home to search the secret library for a way to trap Dracula's traveling castle. While Dracula sinks ever further into his depression and insanity and loses his interest in war, a few of his generals, Carmilla in particular, conspire against him to take over control of the war. The trio of heroes manage to trap the castle atop the ruins of the Belmont estate, foiling Carmilla's plot and allowing the heroes to find and defeat Dracula and his army. Alucard assumes the role of the guardian of the knowledge in the castle and the Belmont hold and continues to struggle with his identity in that lugubrious final scene. That is a dictionary word for sure, Sarah. Nice job there.
That, you know what? I know that. You know why I know that word is the movie Hercules. Remember Pain and Panic?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you're right.
And he goes, coming in most lugubriousness. And I was like, what the fuck? When I was a kid, I was like, what does that mean? And I got out the big old, physical book of the dictionary to look it up and find out what the hell that meant. So that's how I know it means very, very sad.
Awesome. I love it.
And I was looking for a synonym for sad, and I was like, what can I use? And then I saw that. I was like, well, I gotta use that. I also I forgot to put in when I scribbled that out, I forgot to put in that then we see Sypha and Trevor go off together to, partake in some adventures. So
yeah.
But anywho, so let's get into season 3 here, which we covered last episode. We pick up there about a month after the battle between Dracula and the heroes, and then we split off into independent yet converging stories of several of the last season's characters, as well as a few new ones. And again, despite there not being a ton of fighting happening, physical action, there's a ton of story. Alucard's sanity deteriorates quickly, and he sinks into depression over his guilt about killing his father and his loneliness from his friends who left. And he agrees to teach 2 young hunters called Taka and Sumi, who approach him to learn magic and monster hunting. The pair quickly become impatient and suspicious that Alucard is withholding the knowledge that they desire the most, and they trick him into letting his guard down with some weird animated vampire sex, where they bind him and try to murder him, but Alucard is able to get free and murder them instead. Hardened by the experience, he follows his father's example to impale the corpses on pikes at the foot of the castle steps as a warning to others. Sypha and Trevor begin a romantic relationship and travel about hunting down night creatures left in the wake of the war. They end up in a small yet pivotal village where they meet Saint Saint Germain, a well-spoken and somewhat boastful magician who has found a portal in the basement of the village priory to a mystical interdimensional antechamber called the Infinite Corridor. As it turns out, a night creature has also come to the village to use the portal and has convinced the monks in the priory to help it harvest the souls of the villagers to power the portal enough to open a doorway to hell and bring back Dracula and Lisa Tepish, which causes a battle between the monks at the priory and the soldiers of the village, who are aided by Trevor, Sypha, and Saint Germain. They manage to get into the portal, and Saint Germain figures out how to close it and chooses to stay inside the portal and find his loved one that he lost in there, and shouts a quick thank you to Trevor and Sypha as the portal closes before him. Carmilla, very pissed off, marches back to her home in Styria and reunites with her sisters. She presents them with Hector, who is the human forge master she had tricked into betraying Dracula, and then she took him prisoner and dragged him back to Styria.
It's an honest mistake.
Well, and they even, when you got them written down on the paper here, like it even looks similar. Like the T and the S, they just mush together. Carmilla tells her sisters, Marana, Striga, and Lenore, of her plan to expand their rule into a vast empire, which requires Hector's compliance, as the night creatures he creates are loyal only to him. Lenore volunteers to obtain Hector's trust, and Hector, never one to learn from his past, decides to do just that after Lenore plies him with fresh clothes, good food, and more weird animated vampire sex. Yeah. And then she tricks him into... It was so weird, wasn't it? It was so weird. Tricks him into swearing subservience to her and traps him indefinitely with a magical ring. Meanwhile, Striga and Marana, a close couple in their own right, privately discuss their doubts about Carmilla's plan, but ultimately decide to go along with it. Finally, Isaac, last but not least by any means, the other human forge master, vows vengeance upon Hector for betraying Dracula, but as he travels to Styria with his own army of night creatures, he meets other travelers who cause him to experience something of an identity crisis, where he questions and softens his views on humanity. Isaac decides to conquer the fortress of a mad old wizard who was controlling the minds of the people he kidnapped. Oh, shit. And then I messed up my stuff here. Anyway, he vows to rebuild the fortress into a village and imagines that someday it might be inhabited by people who want to live their lives for the betterment of humanity. I personally was left with a lot of questions after this season, and we're gonna get to which ones that season 4 actually answers. So season 4 premiered on Netflix. I've got a slight fungus gnat problem from my houseplants. A bad bag of dirt, and I'm not waving at nothing. There's actually bugs in my face. I'm not crazy, and neither am I.
I swear to God, you said fungus gnat problem, NAP. I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
Not today, but yes. Astian says, I wish they didn't name the country Styria, because I keep confusing it with Striga the vampire. Yeah, that too. Styria. Well, I guess when they named it Styria, like Syria, the actual country wasn't really in the news, and now it is a lot. Well, not so much today as it was a few years ago, but still a lot. And like we all know what Syria is, where Syria is. I know anyway. So yeah, and it's confusing. But I guess at least Striga has that hard G sound there. But anyway. Let's see. Season 4 premiered on Netflix on May 13th, 2021, this year. And on that day, it was announced that 4 was going to be the final season. Don't worry. A new series of set in the Castlevania universe is already in the works, and it's going to be focusing on a descendant of Trevor and Sypha named Richter Belmont, and a woman that he comes across named Maria Renaud. And if you're a fan of the video game, you're going to know these names really well. And Season 4, let's see. Season 4 has a 100% critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 90% audience score. We're going to circle around back to that after we read these recaps, because I got some stuff to say about how the final rankings of these seasons go on Rotten Tomatoes. So let's get to the recap of Season 4's episodes.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
So, what?
It's all you.
Oh, it's all me. Okay. So, episode 1, Murder Wakes It In the weeks following the battle in the village, Trevor and Sypha find they no longer enjoy traveling around and boning and fighting night creatures, vampires, and cultists who also want to resurrect Dracula. While fighting, Trevor teaches Sypha about the Grim Reaper, also called Death, some sort of entity that Trevor specifies is not actual death, but is unlike anything they fought before, who eats the souls of the dead. Trevor hypothesizes that the cultists are praying to the entity to help them resurrect Dracula, and they travel to Targovisti, where Dracula began his assault on humanity. They encounter more cultists and vampires, as well as complete chaos and desolation in the city. While searching the ruins, Trevor finds a magic stabby thing. Good job with that, Sarah, that he keeps. Unbeknownst to them, the pair are being watched in the city by two stronger vampires, Ratko and Varney. Meanwhile, back at Alucard's castle, we see he has acquired a few more corpses on spikes, as he is unhappily surprised by a horse at his castle door carrying a dead messenger who tied a note with a map asking him to help a village called Denesti that is being battered by night creatures. And he was really pissed off at that horse, man, too.
So he argued with the horse.
Alucard buries the messenger, then sees himself in the mirror while washing up and recoils in horror that he is turning into Belmont by drinking every day and rarely taking a bath, and he's just a stanky old man right now.
He is like they do a good job of like showing how ratty he's getting with the animation. You know, it's such a simple animation, but yet like it was obvious there was something wrong with him. So good job.
Mm-hmm.
All right, episode 2, Having the World. Hector seems to be living it up with the vampire sister's castle in Syria, but as he walks through the halls, he notices cracks in the walls, and we see him cramming small stones with magical insignias into the cracks. He then speaks in a communication mirror to an unknown conspirator about bringing someone back from the dead and blackmails a vampire guard of Carmilla's. Is this house haunted? Did you hear that?
Yes.
A loud crash?
Sounded like a cough. Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god, it's the fucking robot. The Roomba hit something. I hear the robot now. You stupid fucking robot. Damn robots. I'm gonna take over the world. Where was I? Blackmailing one of Carmilla's guards into giving him information. Apparently, this guard has a shoe fetish and has been jerking off into Carmilla's shoes, I guess. Like,
yeah.
They don't actually say it, but I'm totally going with he's jerking off into her shoes.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Lenore laments the lack of need for diplomacy in Carmilla's plans and jokes about it with Hector, but then warns Hector not to anger Carmilla while he's taking his time to craft a new forging hammer because Lenore cannot protect Hector against Carmilla. Later, an irritated Carmilla taunts Lenore over her affection for Carmilla. Over her affection for Hector. I made a boo-boo with the writing. Okay, so Lenore is has affection for Hector, and Carmilla is mocking her for it. Carmilla expresses desire for Dracula's castle and then tells a now nervous Lenore that her plan is actually to take over the whole world, and she very strongly expresses her hatred for stupid old men, and she wants to kill them all and corral the rest of the humans to just be their cattle. And they see that now, and then just as they say that, she says that they see that Hector has finished his forging hammer. Elsewhere, Trevor and Sypha try to rest, but they are attacked by Varney and Ratko's night creatures. They are overwhelmed, but are assisted at the last moment by Zamfir, who commands the guard of the underground court of this this mysterious underground court, and she brings along some of her guards who are slaughtered in the fight with the night creatures. Zamfir tells Trevor and Sypha that a nest of vampires are trying to take down the underground court, and she expresses interest in the pair joining the resistance, but she doesn't trust them yet. Zamfir sees Ratko and Varney watching them, and she chases them, while Trevor searches the bodies of one of Zamfir's dead soldiers and discovers a strange glowing stone in his pocket, which he keeps. So yeah, he's corpse robbing. The two discuss the oddness of Zamfir and the court she spoke about before they depart the barn looking for another place to sleep that's maybe a little less infested with night creatures.
Alrighty. Episode 3, Walk Away. Isaac's night creatures clean up the city of the old wizard and bury bodies. The creature that can speak asks Isaac why they are doing these things, to which Isaac explains the importance of choice, and the creature observes Isaac is changing. Isaac muses over the prospect of his changing and how it felt good to do something to make the world better. Varney contacts Isaac to ask him for help in resurrecting Dracula, but irritates Isaac, who cuts him off. Yeah, that I found hysterical because Varney's all like, "Don't you know who I am?" And he's like, "Fuck off. You're nobody."
Yeah, and the whole time Isaac never raises his voice. He's just the fucking king.
He is. Morana and Striga discuss their concerns of Carmilla's plan, but are cut short when their camp is attacked at dawn by humans. Striga hides Morana away in a coffin and dons day armor, which was really fucking cool looking, to defeat the humans without being killed by the sun. Striga expresses surprise that the attackers aren't soldiers, but attacked anyway, that the vampires would never be able to stop fighting to hold onto such a vast empire that Carmilla envisions. Just then, Carmilla contacts her sisters and asks them to return home. Meanwhile, in Targovisti, Trevor and Cypher observe the survivors of the attacks starving and dying of disease and are dismayed, but opt to try to earn Zapmir's trust by helping the survivors. Trevor is confused by why the town is still in tatters and infested with night creatures, despite it having been so long since Dracula attacked it. He also discovers that the stone he found in the corpse can make the magic dagger, or as Sarah called it, the magic pointy thing or whatever, more powerful.
So episode 4, You Must Sacrifice. Trevor and Cypher discuss how stressed and unprepared they are, and they decide they need to take a step back and make a plan. Alucard travels to Dynasty on the advice of the Note and the Dead Messenger, and arrives just in time to stop another night creature attack. He meets with Greta, the head of the village, who asks Alucard to stay and be the protector of the village, and Alucard agrees. Saint Germain appears from his hiding place in a toilet, and Greta rolls her eyes and is like, "Oh, not this guy again." And then we see some flashbacks of Saint Germain, who reveals that he was a traveling historian and he met the woman that he loves while traveling, and they spent time together researching the infinite corridor, and she was accidentally lost within it. After he entered the corridor, he met an alchemist who explained what a rebus is and what it does, and told him that he must create a rebus in order to control the corridor. She gave him a key to help him find his love, but said he would have to sacrifice his morality, and we are shown that he has absolutely done so. Saint Germain then recalls how he was contacted by Varney to help resurrect Dracula, and then he recruited Dragon, another powerful vampire, some other vampire, who he recruits him to attack Dynasty with hordes of night creatures. Back in the present, with Alucard and Greta, Saint Germain suggests that they would be safest if they moved the people of the village back to Alucard's castle. And Alucard is troubled by the methodical nature of these attacks, and he shares these concerns with Greta and thus Saint Germain, because Saint Germain's a nosy little shit. Unaware that Saint Germain is responsible for these attacks on their village, Alucard begrudgingly agrees to this plan.
Yeah. Episode 5. And I have the same reaction that chick has every time Saint Germain is around. I can't stand him. He's just gone.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him some more.
Anyway, episode 5, Back in the World. Alucard leads the villagers in Saint Germain back towards his castle and are ambushed by night creatures on the road there. Alucard and Greta manage to fend off the attacks and get the villagers to the castle. Along the way, they bond over their struggles and histories. Back in Carmilla's castle, Hector makes some night creatures, and Lenore shares with him Carmilla's plan to conquer the whole world. Hector points out that Carmilla manipulated her the same way that Dracula tricked Hector. Back in Targovisti, Trevor and Cypher continue to investigate the situation with Zamfir. Zamfir is the dumbest name. And the starving townspeople. Sypha is horrified to find Zamfir has been forcing the townspeople to give her food for her underground court. As Sypha takes charge of organizing the restoration, Trevor searches for an entrance to the underground camp Zamfir keeps talking about and finds a hole out of which a night creature bursts and attacks. Despite her anger, Sypha rescues Zamfir from it, but before she kills it, the creature secretly plants a glowing device into the back of Zamfir's neck. Back in Isaac City, he and the night creatures use the old wizard's transportation mirror to move on Carmilla's castle. Isaac tells his army to kill everything they see except for Hector, whom Isaac wishes to confront.
I also do not know if I'm ever using who and whom correctly here. There was a couple of times that I had that point where I was like, is it who or whom? And I just didn't care enough to look it up. So
I don't care.
we are not getting paid. We are volunteering to do this, so you're just going to have to deal with the bad grammar, I guess. Alrighty. Episode 6, You Don't Deserve My Blood. Oh, you should have done the evens so that you could have done the battle scene. Damn it. I didn't do that right. Oh well. Isaac's creatures swarm the grounds of Carmilla's castle and quickly overwhelm the vampire's forces. Lenore tries to take Hector to safety, but Hector traps her with a magical cage that he's been secretly constructing while he's been there. Hector reveals that the person he's been conspiring with in the magic communication mirror is Saint Germain and Barney. Isaac enters the room and moves to kill Lenore, but Hector asks him to leave her alive. Hector tells Isaac about his secret plot to use the magic stones that he's been placing about the castle to create a cage in Carmilla's throne room, and he gives Isaac the charm that controls the stones. Hector then explains that he has helped set Dracula's resurrection into motion and then uses Isaac's knife to cut off his finger and to cut off the finger that held the magic ring that bound him to Lenore. And Isaac leaves him and Lenore alive and then uses Hector's charm to trap Carmilla and fast travel to her room. Isaac's creatures. That's the only thing I can... No, actually, he doesn't fast travel, does he? He walks slowly up the steps as they are just flowing blood. Never mind. My bad. Let's see. Isaac's creatures quickly overwhelm Carmilla, and Isaac moves to kill her. But Carmilla commits suicide rather than allowing her enemy to kill her. Her death causes a massive explosion in the castle, which Striga and Marana feel from miles away and see from miles away as they're marching home with their forces. They immediately know that Carmilla is dead, and they assume that Lenore has died as well, and they decide not to return to the castle, instead choosing to search out a new home. Hector and Isaac discuss how they were used by Dracula, and Isaac decides to establish Styria as his new home while Hector decides to stay there with Lenore. And Isaac also suggests that maybe Dracula is at peace now and that he deserves his rest, and they should not resurrect him.
Just leave him the fuck alone.
Yes.
And leave him alone.
I mean, we saw at the end of the last season that he was actually with Lisa and very happy. So, yeah, that's what I would have wanted to do. Just leave him alone.
Episode 7, The Great Work. The magic device that was planted on Zamfir turns out to be a tracking device Ratko and Varney had put on her to allow them to find the underground court. She ain't that smart. I mean, come on. They began to argue, and Ratko mocks Varney for being a lowlife and declares himself to be a real, perfect vampire. Varney suggests that he is not who Ratko thinks he is. Trevor and Sypha finally enter the underground court, only to discover it's full of more starving people and the rotting corpses of the old royal family, who Zamfir believes are only sleeping, and at this point she's just fucking crazy, and they're gonna wake up when she's collected enough resources at the expense of the starving villagers. Sypha and Zamfir argue about Zamfir's delusion, while Trevor finds more magical weapons and discovers they all fit together to form a larger, more powerful weapon. Just then, the court is invaded by night creatures and Varney and Ratko. Back at Alucard's castle, Greta and Alucard care for the villagers, and Saint Germain has dragons. Yeah, I don't know.
Dragon. I don't remember how his name is pronounced, and that's hilarious because I watched it like 4 hours ago.
His night creature army marched to the castle, bringing the rebus. I love that word, rebus. Jermaine has instructed them to create by stitching together pieces from several corpses. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I love that word too, Rebus. I decided that the next pet that happens to wander into my life is probably going to be named Rebus.
Rebus.
Just 'cause why not? Alrighty, episode 8, Death Magic. Trevor, Sypha, and Zamfir fight the night creatures who have descended on Targovista, and Zamfir sacrifices herself to save a mother and child from Ratko, who is then killed by Trevor using one of the magical weapons he found in the underground court. Back at the castle, Alucard and Greta direct the villagers to fight against dragon night creatures.
Yeah.
And they are forced back into the castle, They can't fight them very well. They figure out that Saint Germain has been manipulating them and has been using the souls of the people being killed in the battle to open the infinite corridor again, using the key that the alchemist gave him, as he intends to bring back Dracula and Lisa and fuse their souls to the Rebus, which Saint Germain believes will allow him to control the corridor. Alucard tries to stop him, but Saint Germain has created a magical barrier that Alucard cannot cross. Back in Targovista, Barney finds another magical transportation mirror and uses it to travel to the castle and join Saint Germain. Trevor and Sypha see Barney leaving via the mirror, and they follow after him.
Yeah. All right, almost there. Episode 9, The Endings. Trevor and Sypha arrive in the castle and join Alucard in the battle, who seems unsurprised to see them. The night creatures deliver the Rebus to Saint Germain, and Varney gives him the forging spells from Hector needed to fuse Dracula and Lisa to it. As Germain prepares to fuse the souls, Varney reveals he was the alchemist who gave Germain the magic key, and then transforms into his true identity, the entity Trevor called Death. Death forces a now unwilling Germain to complete the ritual and declares he tricked everyone into doing this to make Dracula go insane and unleash him upon the world to kill and allow Death to feast on souls. Trevor, Alucard, and Sypha defeat Dragan and make it to Germain just as he pulls Dracula and Lisa into the Rebus. Trevor uses the Morning Star to the Morning Star whip to break the magical barrier, protecting Germain, and Germain distracts Death so Trevor can destroy the Rebus with the magical cross-shaped blade he had found in the underground court, freeing the souls of Dracula and Lisa. Yay. The resulting explosion destroys part of the castle and mortally wounds Germain. An enraged Death eats the magic key to gain its power. Trevor tells Sypha that he loves her and then attacks Death alone. Aw. Trevor is badly wounded but manages to use the artifacts he has recovered to stab Death and destroy him, resulting in another huge explosion that engulfs Trevor and Germain.
Somebody is over here making faces out of frame, making faces at me. Episode 10, It's Been a Strange Ride. 2 weeks have passed and Lenora is no longer interested in immortality and refuses to continue living as Isaac's prisoner, so she reconciles with Hector and then commits suicide by walking out into the sun. Back at the castle, the villagers begin to build a permanent settlement with Alucard and Greta and Sypha, who Sypha had mourned alone in her room, and she finally emerges to declare that she has to go find her Speaker family. I was like, that's not right. Speaker family, as she is pregnant and she will need the help of her family to raise the child. Alucard and Greta suggest that she could stay with them and let them help her. Just as they discuss that possibility, a horse appears carrying the badly injured but still alive Trevor, who tells them that he thinks that Saint Germain transported him to safety just before he bit the big one. Trevor also reveals that the weapon that he used to kill Death was supposed to be some kind of murder-suicide type device that was created by a mad wizard turned blacksmith, and that he had expected to die when he used it to kill Death. Kill Death is such a weird thing to say, but this is not the only show that happens in either. Anyway, let's see. The trio of heroes reflect upon everything that they've been through, and they look forward to their hopefully now bright future. Across the country, it's revealed that Dracula and Lisa somehow had managed to survive the being pushed into and then Morning Star whipped out of the Rebus, and they were somehow also weirdly returned to their original bodies. they decide that they're going to travel the world together and allow their son to live a bit, and then but they do vow to visit him someday.
Yeah, they do.
They do the do. All right, I am so glad that we're through that.
Yay!
Do we have any more
Some comments?
We got yeah. I thought I heard a cough. I think that was Jeffrey laughing at me freaking out about the weird noise, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the robot didn't cough, and if it did, I'm absolutely going to be performing some kind of exorcism or something. Like I saw it on Supernatural. It can't be that hard. But I don't want no possessed robots in this apartment. So anyway, let's get to bitching. Let's get to bitching about our notes here. I actually don't have a lot of complaining to do about this season. It was really good. But what I do have, actually, let's go back to that Rotten Tomatoes thing, right?
Yeah.
So this season has the 100% rating and a 90% audience score.
Okay.
And season 2 is the only one that's better, because season 2 has a 100% critical rating and a 91% audience score. Which that blows my mind. Like, it should be 100% audience score. Like, what kind of asshole didn't like that? I mean, seriously. Anyway,
season, yeah.
The thing that is so weird to me is that season 1 was, like, by the critics and the audience, considered to be the weakest season of the 4. Like, it's got the lowest score. None of them have a very low score. I think that the lowest score is like 82%, which is still a very good score. But I don't think it's the worst season. I think that 3 is the weakest season.
I don't understand that either. I'd be curious to read what some of the comments are for that. Maybe because it was like a whole, I don't know, a set up into Trevor's adventures and Sypha. Maybe people are expecting to already have met them. Instead, you have like the, I don't know, like 2 to 3 episodes in the beginning, or it was only 4 episodes, wasn't it?
That's another thing about it, is that, I mean, maybe that's
low rating. Yeah,
like that's why, is because they did cram a lot of story into the 4 episodes. They could have, which I'm okay with, because they didn't know if they were going to have another season, right? So
yeah. So I can, if they're judging it just by the episode number, that's not fair, because what you did get in those 4 episodes was high quality entertainment. I mean, the fights were good. There was good setup for the characters.
Dialogue was pretty good. I mean, we got like goat fucking talk.
I was just gonna say that.
Sorry.
But yeah, I that seems very odd to me, that's rated as low as it is. Is it the best season? No, but it's certainly not the worst one.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that 3 is the weakest season, and I don't I don't dislike season 3. I just think that it's the only season of the 4 that we get that split into like 5 separate stories, and it's kind of it's kind of a lot to follow.
Yeah, and I think we have a comment on that too.
Oh, Astian says, had any of them seen season 3 when they rated? Season 3 could have people riding high off of season 2 and thinking it was better than it was. That's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But if you watched, I mean, season 2 was out for like a year before season 3 rolled around. So I guess maybe people were just so jonesing for more Castlevania that they were like, yeah, this is really good. And they didn't watch it critically before they scored it.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm more weirded out by I'm not weirded out, but I'm just confused by the critical rating being higher for season 3. Like the audience score, sure. Like the audience, sometimes they don't base their thoughts on being uncritical, critical watching of the season. But a critic that's exactly like that's in their name. That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's right. Astian just said there was boobs. There were boobies, and there were animated penises. Penises. What's the word for more than one penis?
Yeah, I guess peni.
No. K-Bo Foster said, I came for spoilers and I have not been disappointed so far. Yes, that's what we do here. That's what we do on Critical Affection. Which I don't know. We're thinking about changing the name of Critical Affection, so everybody should tell us what they think, because I don't know, because it seems like we're being critical, but not that critical. Like, I mean, because I guess it's just because we're doing Castlevania first here, so like, there's not a lot to be critical of. I don't know. Anyway, anywho's, yeah, I completely disagree with Rotten Tomatoes critical scoring of the whole season 3 being better than season 1. Like, I disagree. That is not accurate. Season 1 was better than it should be. It should be 2, 1, 4, 3. That's my score.
I would agree with that too, actually.
Yeah. Thank you. I thought that would probably be, because we seem to be pretty much on the same page about most of this stuff. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, like I don't have a lot of notes for episode 1, except that Alucard talks to the horse and like he argues with the horse. I love that. Like he argues with the horse, like it's like the horse is smarting off to him or something.
Yeah.
What you bitch me.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of notes for that episode either, but the fucking horse, that was the best part.
Princess Wiggle is a fantastic Twitch name, by the way. You can't go wrong with boobs. The penises are animated. Yeah, the penis. I think we got lots of Sumi and Lenora boob, but we didn't get a lot. I don't think we got any Alucard penis, and we only got a little bit of Hector penis, right?
It was
and Taka's penis.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I really want to see their penises anyway, so.
That's fair. I mean, its boobs are weird enough when they're animated. Like, any other naughty bit part seems like that's what made it so weird. Was like the fact that they animated sex was weird, but like, yeah.
It was weird because I wasn't expecting it. That's what made it weird.
Yeah, it felt shoehorned in, didn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Exactly.
That's another reason why season 3 was absolutely the weakest season. Like, I'm not saying it was a bad season. I'm just saying it's the weakest of the 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Princess Wiggle says, I've argued with a horse before. As have I. Funnily enough, I used to ride horse. Like, I grew up on a farm and I used to ride horse all the time. And yeah, I actually had conversations and stuff. And I can't ride anymore because I'm too broken. But I could still argue with a horse though. I mean, they're just down at the farm. They're still.
Did they argue with you?
Sometimes. I had one, and funnily enough, his name was Diablo, and he like turned around and bit me in the leg once.
Oh!
I'm riding him.
Yeah.
Like, get your fat ass off of me, bitch. So, okay. Getting off topic here. Serious, yeah. So Alucard argues with the horse. I think that part is actually pretty funny. And like when he comes out of the castle and he like walks down, he kind of stumbles down the stairs, and you're going, okay, something ain't right here. Yeah. Because he was so polished and refined in the previous 2 seasons. And so like he's all fucked up and he stumbles down the steps and he pisses on one of the corpses that he has spiked in front of his house.
Yes, that was awesome. Like, he went from being Lestat to being Louis, like, pretty quick, you know?
Yeah, I think he even went below Louis. Like, that was pretty bad. And he did say, I'm turning into Belmont. And he means like pre-Dracula battle. Belmont was way worse than post-Dracula battle. So yeah, there's some eye gouging in this episode, in episode 1. Is it Trevor gouges some eyes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, while they're fighting one of the many hordes of like small bands of night creatures are traveling around, and they attack Trevor and Sypha, who then kill them. And yeah, there's some eye gouging. There's some talk of violence against children. Actually, there's some showing the violence against children, isn't there? They didn't actually do anything, but they were gonna chop her head off or something, the little girl.
It was a little
and Trevor and Sypha came
suggested. Yeah, that was pretty.
Yeah, it's extreme. Like, it actually should kind of come with a trigger warning, don't you think? I mean, there's some balls. What's the word? like violence and people hurting other people. Like it's just kind of it's graphic, and they should probably point that out for people who are sensitive to that kind of thing, because you don't want to give somebody a panic attack with your with your cartoon,
Those people shouldn't be watching it in the first place, and they're pussies. So
Yeah. Well, that's fair. And if you are jumping, like if you watch the other two episodes or 2 seasons, then you know that this is going to be super graphic. And if you just jumped into season 3, then what the fuck are you doing? So I changed my mind. It's their fault. But there should be a trigger warning somewhere. Maybe
it's different. It is funny because the warnings now for movies, when I watch them, some of the details for what's depicted gets like really oddly specific sometimes, and it can be a little weird. Like, you have drug use, violence, whatever. Like, we were watching a documentary, and at the top it said like sexual assault. I was like, whoa, okay, like, well, thank you. I did appreciate like that being told so I could brace myself.
Mhm.
But sometimes, like, I have seen like animal abuse, violence against children in other movies that I've watched. So you're not wrong, because that kind of thing, like, I can watch like most horror people. I found I can watch people get hacked up all day, but if you touch a dog or a cat, forget it. I'm in tears,
Mhm.
and I'm hiding behind my hands.
That's why I hate Dances with Wolves. It was supposed to be like a historical fiction thing about this army officer and the Native Americans, and then they kill a horse and a dog. Like,
Yep.
what the hell?
Exactly.
Kill a horse who didn't do anything to anybody.
Nope.
Yeah, and I was like, that was, and my mom took me to see that in the theaters in like 1993.
Really?
So traumatizing, yeah. Like, that was traumatizing for me, like genuinely traumatizing.
Say that you were pretty young, so that's a pretty
Yeah,
intense.
I would have been like 10 or 11 years old when that happens. When that
long ass movie to be sitting there too, at that age.
Yeah, and I have no idea why she thought that like this is a children's movie. Like, I think my aunt was like her sister. My aunt came with. I don't know. I don't remember. That was a long time ago, and I barely remember yesterday. But I do very vividly remember the horse dying.
Oh yeah.
On the massive movie screen, and I'm like, why? I didn't need to see that. Why did you do this to me?
My mom took me to see Kill Bill when that came out, and because she didn't.
That was not quite as recent or quite as far back, right? As
No, but the point was she didn't understand what it really was, and I tried to explain it to her. She legitimately thought it was like a Jackie Chan, like, haha, funny kind of like martial arts.
Oh.
And I was trying to explain to her, I'm like, no, mom, it's not like that. It's, it's violent, it's, graphic. But she's like, no, that's fine. I like the fighting. I like the ninja stuff. It's cool and whatever. And then it's the part where, what's his name? My name is Buck and I like to fuck, with her getting raped at the hospital. And like, I swear to God, I looked over at my mom and she like had her eyes closed and she's like this, and I'm like,
oh no.
And I'm, oh geez, seeing this at, however old I was, and I'm like traumatized. I'm like, oh my God.
Did she manage to make it through? Did she manage to get through the whole movie?
Oh yeah, she stayed there. Yeah, but then afterwards, I was like, I told you. She's like, well, why did you want to go see it? I'm like, no, don't put this on me. You're the yeah. I was like, it was rated R. You knew it was rated R when you took me. It's your fault.
It is. It is her fault. I agree. So, yeah, one more thing that happened in episode 1. So getting back to the topic at hand here. Yeah, one more thing is like Alucard, when the dead messenger shows up at his doorstep, he buries the body of the messenger, which I thought, like, that's a completely guilt-free corpse on a spike for you. You didn't kill him. You don't even know the guy. Just put him. But like, he feels respect for this guy who, even he strapped the note to his hand because he knew that he wasn't going to live, but he still wanted to try to deliver the message that was so important. So that's and I understand that, but I'm also like, guilt-free corpse. You didn't kill the guy. You could have gotten another corpse on a spike for your collection. What were you doing?
Well, he still has some of his mama in him, so
yeah. I mean, and he is very clearly in personality far more like his mother than his father.
Mhm.
And even she even rubbed off on Dracula somewhat with her affection for humanity and her desire to always see the best in people and all that. So but she obviously was a far greater influence on Alucard's personality than Dracula.
Yes.
And I mean, just and their whole backstory is just so tragic. Everything is so and I still I don't feel like Dracula was really that bad of a bad guy. Like Carmilla, absolutely. Carmilla had nothing for us. Like you said before, we have no sympathy for her. We don't know her backstory except that she was treated poorly by an old man,
old white guys.
Old rich guy or whatever she called him.
A lot of people do, and there's good reason to hate old rich white guys. Don't get me wrong, but I would still like a little backstory.
Exactly. So yeah, Princess Wiggle. I'm still having fun just saying that. That is definitely Mom's fault going to the movie and not listening to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And moms always think they know better anyway.
Yeah.
So Astian says, "Violence is hilarious, Mom. Get with the times." Right?
Well, she ended up watching Game of Thrones with me, and there was, how much sex and nudity was in that, but apparently that didn't bother her that much because she was enthralled with.
I mean, you were also no longer a teenager at that point.
That is true. Yes, that is true. But I got her.
Yeah,
I got her hooked on that one. So.
So it's your fault. That one was on you.
That was my fault. Yes, that was.
Bill might have been on her, but this one was all on you. Astian says, yeah, she rants about old white men a lot. Oh, not old white men. We're just saying old white men now. White men. Oh. But yeah, he says she rants about old men a lot. I have it mentioned in my notes. You took notes too? Why don't we just have him do the extra host? Yeah. Cabo Foster says your mom is awesome. The evolution.
Dude, yeah. My mother, just really quick, and then we'll try to get back on topic. She when the drought
thing over again.
When Drowning Pool came out with the Bodies Hit the Floor song, she thought it was the funniest goddamn thing in the world. And this is back I'm in, God, when it came out, I was probably in middle school still. And she's dropping me and my friends off at school, and she's blasting the song. It is oh my God. She's so silly sometimes. But because she'll listen to Metallica and stuff. And yeah, she's trying to she just thought it was a really fucking funny
Metallica is pretty solid, so.
Yeah.
Not at all, most.
Anyway.
Stupid evil old men quoted. Yes, stupid evil old men. She gets so angry, but she never does really explain why they're evil. Like stupid and old, I get, but why evil? You didn't say why. They just except that she just in the last season season 2, she accuses them of just controlling her. Very vague. He just says they control me, and now they don't control me anymore. Yeah. But she didn't get into any details, so I don't really have any basis for comparison of why you think they controlled. And then in this season, she says that they mismanaged their empires or whatever, and that's why she wants to take over the whole world instead of just Wallachia. So whatever. Hector has, I guess, a bit of an arc that he actually evolves
a bit at the very
season because he's
seen.
Yeah, I mean he can all the first 3 seasons he is naive, or he's not in the first season, is he? When we see him, everything we've seen to him up to this point, he is naive and he continues to trust people over and over and over again, despite them proving that these people did not deserve his trust, but he continues to trust them. And then he sees clearly that Carmilla was she betrayed him, she tricked him, she told him that, and then she was like, yeah, fuck you, you're mine now. And then he trusts her sister, you deserved what you got because you're stupid. And yeah, Astian says not a total idiot this season, Hector. Yeah, he actually is okay, I need to do something to try and preserve myself, so I'm gonna set these little trappy trap things in the the magic stones in the walls of the castle, and it's at least he's not being a complete moron this time.
No, I did think that was pretty cool with the the stones and shit. So that was neat.
They mentioned it didn't show that he tried to kill Carmilla at least once. I thought that they were talking about Carmilla and Lenore were talking about how Hector had tried to kill Lenore, which that's what I thought that conversation was about. It doesn't really matter. The point is that he did try to kill one of the sisters, and that Lenore like defends him, is like, but it was barely even an attempt. He was confused. He didn't really want to kill anybody. But yeah, it's just nice to see that he isn't that he did finally learn from his screw ups, and he is finally using the advantage given to him by Lenore, allowing, like, Lenore at the end of season 3 was like, he gets to have free run of the grounds. He can't leave the grounds, but he gets to be free, and he gets to have nice clothes, and he gets to have a private suite that he gets to live in, and he takes full advantage of that. So fucking finally, right? I'm like, finally, he's not being a moron. So yeah, and I have Carmilla and her hatred of old men with power. Like, she just really hates them.
Yep.
Barney and Ratco, they are clearly integral. Like, we see them enough in the first couple of episodes that it's obvious that they're important, but we never saw them last season. So like, why are they suddenly so important? If they were so important, and like Barney, he reiterates multiple times that he is super important to Dracula, and he always has been, but we didn't see anything of him. We didn't even hear his name being uttered in season 2 or 3. So it's like, you'd think that he would have showed up in season 3, right?
Yeah, it was a little odd just introducing 2 brand new characters in the last season. I thought you don't really get enough time to I don't know, to really get to know them a little bit better and kind of figure out what they're really about. You know,
Yeah.
I kind of would like a little more time with the both of them.
Yeah, and the way that they set up season 3 with the individual stories rather than one big story, they I don't think there would have been a good place to introduce them.
True.
So, and I didn't even in my recap of season 3, I didn't even mention the judge, because he's not important. Remember the judge that values order so much that he's willing to murder little kids to have it in his town? Like, he is ultimately not important at all. Like, we see so much of him in season 3, but he doesn't matter at all in the end. He does not fucking matter. Like, we could have erased him completely from there and he wouldn't matter. I mean, the only thing of note that he does is kill Sala, and even then, like, Sala was pretty badly wounded by the time he even exited the Priory, so he wasn't gonna get far.
It seemed like he was just there to remind Sypha that the world is a horrible place. That's pretty much it.
That's true. And you know what? Because she saw that, it made her grow up. Because 3 seasons of her being just naive and like, it's okay to be optimistic, but she was being like ignorantly optimistic. Like, you have no world experience, and therefore you believe that the world is a shiny, happy place when it just isn't. It's okay to see the good in the world, but I'm not telling anybody not to do that. I am telling them. Sypha was being way too. There's this place is haunted. The light is just flickering now. This apartment is haunted. It wasn't the robot. It was a ghost. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I get, like, Ratco and Barney couldn't have really been introduced anywhere in there, but yeah, the judge's sole purpose in season 3 was probably just so that Sypha could finally grow up a little bit and stop being so irritatingly sunny all the time. I think that she was very mature and, like, still optimistic in season 4, but much more mature. It was just it was so much easier to stomach her in the last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
definitely.
she grows up. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, in episode 3 and episode 4, maybe episode 5 too, Isaac talks to himself a lot, and I know that he does it so that we the viewers can know what's going on in his mind.
Yeah.
But he does have a conversation with the statue of the old crazy wizard that he killed.
Mm.
And he explains that killing the wizard felt right because the wizard was entrapping people with magic and turning them into zombies that are his soldiers or workers or whatever. But yeah, he was very satisfied with killing that wizard. It was fun to watch, actually.
I was very satisfied with it. That was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like that whole battle. I know we're going back a season now, but that was just like so cool. I was sitting there with my jaw open the whole time. Like, hello. I mean, you and I have said it before. Isaac is the best character, hands down. And I want fuck Sypha and Trevor's little kid. I want a whole season of Isaac just being a boss and a badass and, kicking ass, taking names, and just ruling the world.
And I would have loved to have a spin-off for Isaac. Wouldn't that be great? Like, screw Richter. Let's talk about Isaac. Let's have a season, at least one season of just Isaac. One season of just the Castlevania universe of what Isaac does. That would be fantastic.
He has a good journey. He goes through a lot of conflicting feelings. He has a pretty good arc, I think. He's one of the characters I feel that did kind of get like a complete story, basically.
Yes. He has like that anger and hatred. We don't even see until season 2, and he has that anger and hatred in season 2, but also this loyalty to Dracula, which he loses, which makes him question everything in season 3, and then he meets all those people that make him think that maybe the world and humans aren't such bad things, and that it would be great if he could make the world better with the skills that he has. And he kind of has another one of those conversations with himself about that, isn't it? And the creature, the fly's eyes, I think the captions call him fly's eyes, but I think that Isaac refers to him as fly's eyes. Doesn't matter. Point is, he's the night creature that can talk.
Guy, yeah.
And he okay, I know why the light's flickering. I can see the cord wiggling, and there's a fucking cat playing.
Well, now I noticed it. I just saw it.
Arthur, you dick! Back off! She's a dick. She's like reaching around the cord to get a ball, a toy ball. She's such a dick. So yeah, what was I saying now? Silence. Phone. Everything is like distracting me today. So, and like for hours, this crap was all on and set up and going, and I had 0 interruptions, and now everything's interrupting me. So,
well, the cat don't give a shit what you're doing.
No, the cats never give a shit. Anyway, so comments. Princess Wiggles. So we need Carmilla to take care of Jeff Bezos. I mean, yes, except that fucking Isaac killed her ass. And I mean, like, he's gonna get a little overconfident with his penis rocket, and then space is gonna kill him if he's not careful. He's super tone deaf, and I have many thoughts on Bezos, but we probably need to do just a separate episode on Bezos, probably. Astian says, what's so awful with Barney for me is his name makes me think of Jim Barney, so every time he's on screen I keep picturing Ernest P. Worrell in my mind. Yeah, fair. Isaac should get his own spin-off game. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I never got to play the games as a kid because or as an adult, because I don't have time to play video games anymore, but as a kid I didn't, because my parents were awful and they wouldn't let us have a video game system. So I didn't get to play a lot of video games.
That sucks.
The first thing I did when I moved out of the house was buy a fucking Nintendo on eBay. I bought a Super Nintendo and a copy of Mario Kart and a copy of the Lion King game. Like, I bought them on eBay, and I was like crossing my fingers that they would work, and they did. They still do, I think. I haven't played them in a while. Anyway, yeah, lots of cat emojis now. Which, yeah, she's a dick. The cat is a dick. They're all dicks. Dicks.
like one of those those like day by day calendars. I want one of Isaac, and like every day it's just some new like Isaac-ism of wisdom that you read,
Yeah.
be inspired by.
Everything that he says is fantastic in this show. So
Yeah.
you could literally just do a page a day of those quotes, and I would buy that calendar. I would buy that calendar.
All right, I'll get started on that right away.
Thank you. Striga. Let's talk about Striga. How fucking awesome is her hair and that armor and the fighting? Oh, Striga is so cool.
She's
And
gorgeous. I love her
yeah,
design.
she's like Eastern European, maybe Russian, maybe Ukrainian. I'm not sure. But and then she's got the beautiful lesbian vampire relationship with Marana, who is probably Middle East of some sort, like the Indian.
That's what I kind of got that feeling. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Middle East is maybe turning into an outdated term to refer to that region of the world, but I don't know what the region is called, like what I'm supposed to call it right now. So I'm gonna have to continue to refer to it as Middle East until I learn what the right term is. Let's see. My other Striga is like Marana's very refined and polished, but Striga is the interesting one in that relationship.
Yeah,
and both yes, and I don't know if they're all just like Lenore and Striga and Marana are just if they're just younger than Carmilla, because they all possess a lot more sanity, and there are other vampire universes where you see vampires tend to go a little crazy as they get older,
right?
And they become unable to change with the world or something. So, and then in this universe, that like Lenora explains to Hector that vampires don't like change, and that she wants constant consistency. Yeah, that's the word. So,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, I guess that's why Carmilla has gone a little crazy, and why Striga and Marana and Lenore have are more down to earth, more reasonable, and when they figure out that Carmilla is dead, they have like everything that they had based their life on just crumbles in their brains, and they're like, we have zero fucking reason to go back to that castle now. I don't care about that castle. I never really cared that much about you could see they were sad that Carmilla was gone, but they didn't seem to be that sad about it. So
no,
I think that they must have been kind of emotionally distancing themselves from Carmilla for a while. And exactly. I mean, if it was my house and two people that I cared about were blown up in it, I probably would want to at least go back and survey the damage and maybe be able to bury their bodies with some dignity. But I guess with the explosion, we certainly know Carmilla's body is gone. But episode 4 had some clunky dialogue. I wrote that down. And Saint Germain is a great big contributor of it. And I wonder if he ever was like a really good person, because he seemed like he was just a braggart and like a pompous ass. And then he became, after the encounter with the alchemist who turned out to be Varney, who actually turned out to be Death, was he just lost any goodness that he may have had in him until the very end, when he decides to do something to redeem himself.
I just think it was an act. Like oh my god! Every time he was on screen, like I would roll my eyes and groan. Like I just fucking hated it. Oh my god! Like he was an asshole, and I believe he was always an asshole. I don't know. I didn't give a crap about his love story and his journey at all. I know you need him to progress the story, but
right. I think that the writing was it was a little bit lazy with his story. Like, yeah, I guess he's an interesting character, but I think that his writing, his story was a little lazy.
Yeah, like his personality was just so just not appetizing at all, and he would just drone on and on and on, and I think a couple times I just like sped up the speed because I was like, okay, get the fuck.
Isn't that whole flashback stuff with him? It was in episode 2 or 3. I don't remember. I hit the 1.5 button and let it go through, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this still takes forever. Yeah. And it was such a waste of Bill Nye's voice, don't you think? Like,
yes.
Bill Nye, the vampire dude, like he does vampire stuff, and like he should have been somebody a little cooler. I mean, I'm not saying Isaac, because Isaac's voice actor was perfect, but yeah, I feel like Bill Nye's voice was wasted on him. So I get that. I get, like you said, I get that he was important. Like we need him to further the plot, but annoying. Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Very much so. And he does, like, there's no, at the end we're like, oh, he saved Trevor, so good on him for redeeming himself at the end. But even though he learns that he's been duped this whole time, and so he's trying to save his own ass after he starts going back on the stuff that he was doing, and he didn't want to bring back Dracula. He's doing that to save his own ass, not anybody else's. And we only know that the story of him saving Trevor is just something that the extremely badly wounded and losing blood rapidly Trevor, like he thinks that Saint Germain saved him by opening a portal. So he doesn't know. And so, like, we don't have any actual proof that Saint Germain did anything to help anyone other than himself right up until, and we actually don't have confirmation of his death, but he was pretty fucking badly wounded in that last battle with Barney/Death, so I'm pretty sure he died. Yeah. Yes, Astian says he fell into a plot hole. Yes, he did. Exactly. Fell in a plot hole. Yes, absolutely. Did you notice it was episode 4 or 5 at some point, Alucard, I think in the games they just refer to Alucard's weapons as the Alucard sword and the Alucard shield, but anyway, he shows up with his shield when he comes to when the village. What's the name of the village again? Greta's village. The I don't know, but yeah, I can't remember. But the point is that when he arrives, he has his shield. He even uses it to kill a night creature. Like he uses it to slice one in half or something. So like, it's just nice to see those little touches that the Alucard shield does show up in the. He very strongly favors the sword, I believe, in the games as well. But the fact that the shield shows up in the series is pretty fun. Yeah.
The Nesty. Yes. Thank you.
Nesty. Thank you. Yes. Germain had a pointy object in his chest. Yes, that's why we're like, he's probably dead, but technically he didn't. We didn't see him die. So I have that same thought about Hela in the Thor movie, where like we didn't see her die. We saw the big dude come down and like he was gonna, but we didn't see her die, so she might not be dead for reals. But then again, we saw Loki die, and I'm still convinced he's not actually dead, especially after watching the show. But we're not going to spoil that. But because I've always been convinced after watching Endgame, like Loki's not really dead, because I can't even stomach a Marvel universe where Loki isn't there to cause trouble.
I knew he wasn't dead. We're
gonna go off on another 20-minute tangent about Marvel again, aren't we? Mike's not even here.
No, I knew he wasn't dead because I knew that the studio knew they could bank on him. So I was like, he ain't fucking dead. So
yeah, and like the actor that plays him is only like, he's not even 40 years old, I don't think. So he's still got lots of years that they can monetize him by having him play Loki.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they've added all those alternate reality Lokis too, which I personally want to see a series about. Well, I won't spoil it because I'm reasonably certain that at least one person watching this has not seen it, because I think I know everybody.
I haven't. I kind of know what goes on, but we were waiting for all the episodes to air first, and then we're just gonna binge it. So I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that when I watch, but my significant other is a watch one episode a day kind of person, so we end up watching one episode a week, and I'm just like, fine. I guess I'm not so picky that I have to insist. He's very much not a binge watcher though, so that's kind of, it can get frustrating. Let's just say that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. So nice. Anyway, back to the point at hand. Is like it's nice to see Alucard do some killing with his shield. So yeah, I wrote down here in episode 6 or episode 7. It took 3 seasons, but we finally see Sypha starting to show some wisdom and not be annoying. So, episode 6 with that fantastic battle. The entire episode was pretty much just Isaac battling Carmilla's forces and Carmilla herself, which was it was a good battle. Like it was a good and how about that night creature with the ripped abs?
My God.
He was like kind of hot for a night creature.
He was the hottest night creature ever. And that was the funniest thing because when I was watching it, my husband was in the room too, and we both kind of said that. And I was like, "Yo, that's a fucking hot like demon." And he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty good."
I'm saying, yeah, he's a pretty
spin-off series of that guy,
right? Well, did he die because he came back and shielded Isaac from the, because like Carmilla was intending to take out Isaac with her, and he shielded her. So I'm assuming he got burned up in the blast.
I'm pretty sure it did because I kind of I remember being sad, and then when I rewatched it, I was sad again. So yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah. I was disappointed that he didn't make it. I was very happy to see in last season the blonde dude that insulted and attempted to kill Isaac in season 2 and got turned into a night creature, and then he got killed again in season 3, and I was like, he deserved it. Yay!
Yep.
So Aston says some of them were angelic looking, weren't they? Yes, like that particular one that we're referring to. He was kind of Isaac's mode of transportation throughout there. He was picking Isaac up and carrying him on with his wings. And yeah, he was, I would say, angelic. Yeah, he was like a silvery color, and I think he had feather-like wings. So
yeah, I think so. But I love the designs of most of them. They were pretty unique.
The night creatures got way cooler in this season.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, the last several seasons, the last 3 seasons, but this season they got really cool. They got the artists got creative with it, so that was nice.
Definitely something I appreciate when I'm watching something like this is you can tell, like to save money, they'll just create one thing, usually digitally, and then just copy and paste, and whatever. You have a whole array of
stuff,
things exactly the same. But this, they took their time. I mean, some of the demons did, resemble each other a little bit, but you could always pick out different ones with different features, and that looks like a goat or a fucking bird or a person or like, whatever. So I thought that was like really
good. The background demons that Carmilla was just slaughtering really quickly that didn't matter. Those were all the ones that kind of looked similar, but the ones that had more pivotal roles were very creative. And yeah, I agree. They were pretty cool. And in particular, the one that carried Isaac around and protected him, and yeah, that one was a really cool one. And very angelic looking, but then they did close in on his face, and he had like 6 eyes or something, like, and 2 mouths. Like he had, like when you got up close, you could see he clearly was not an angel, but definitely seemed angelic from it was like a Picasso. Like it looked pretty cool from far away, and then you got up close and you're going, oh no, that's not something that I should be admiring. I should be horrified. I was not horrified by the demon though. I am horrified by some of Picasso's work. What are you gonna do? I'm getting a degree in fine arts at school, and like I don't like Picasso's work. Okay,
that's fine.
I'm not trying to get my degree to be an artist, a fine artist. I'm trying to get my degree to be a graphic designer.
Hey man, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So you like what you like, that's fine.
Indeed. When Sypha and Alucard. I'm having a time. I'm always having a time at this. It's this time of night, right? Like I'm still kind of awake, but I'm starting to not be coherent anymore.
Same.
Sypha and Trevor go through the mirror and they show up next to Alucard. Alucard is surprised when the demon that is almost defeating him suddenly just and is dead. But he's not surprised to see that Sypha and Trevor were the ones that helped him. He just like gives that little shit-eating grin, and then they carry on attacking things just like old times.
Yep.
That was fun. That was a fun touch. There was a thing, and I can't remember what it was, about one thing that did not get resolved from season 3 to season 4, and I have to think about it. So, do you have any other notes about you that you were into? I have to think about what that was.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's see. What else do I have written here? No, I mean, honestly, we said this before. We could have a whole week-long series just talking about Carmilla. But
yeah, and her lack of backstory.
I would like, the fight was really cool. I loved all the blood surrounding her, and like it was very cinematic. It was beautifully drawn, like great, whatever. But then at the same time, I didn't feel any sorrow for her, but I also didn't feel any great like triumph either. Like I kind of didn't feel anything because I mean, again, I don't really have any reason to hate her, but I don't have a reason to root for her either.
I guess you were supposed to hate her for the whole "I'm gonna take over the world and make humans into my cows" thing.
I guess, but again, if she was abused, if she was mistreated, if we got something to go on, I'd probably be rooting for my girl and saying, yeah, fuck it, fucking kill all those old men, like you go, but I don't. I mean, for all I know, some drunken idiot could have just like slapped her ass once, and then from then on she just hated guys. Like, I don't know, but
that is absolutely my argument, or my problem with her too. It's like she the only information that we have about her tragic backstory is what she told us. Like, we get flashbacks, and we get other people explaining, and we get substance, like verifiable, trustworthy information about the backstories of others. Like for Dracula, we see it happen. Hector and Isaac give us flashbacks and memories, and Alucard tells stories that are verified with flashbacks, but also we already met his family, so we know that he's not lying. Like, we don't get anything except this offhanded comment from Carmilla about an old rich man tried to control her and she would not be controlled, so she killed him. Like, that's it. That's not enough.
And I mean, she was in for as many seasons as she was in, I feel like they really just dropped the ball. Was she the main baddie? No, but she was. It seemed like you could have almost done this series without her at the end of the day. And that's what is my biggest gripe with the series as a whole, because again, I'm more upset that I don't feel anything versus feeling mad or feeling upset that whatever happened to her. Like, I want to feel an emotion, but I don't have anything to work with. So that was just this weird journey we went on with her, and it just didn't really matter in the end, in my opinion. So that's really what my biggest issue is with the series as a whole.
I thought Zamfir was kind of a throwaway character through the whole season. She doesn't end up really mattering at all, except to be the way that Trevor and Sypha learn about the underground court, which Zamfir created. So like they could have done something much more interesting than create Zamfir and her crazy with the underground court thing to introduce Sypha and Trevor. And I know the only reason that the underground court ends up being important is because that's where that magic mirror has been hidden, and that's what Barney needs to quickly get back to Dracula's castle to help with the Rebus situation. But
right,
I think that Zamfir, being a complete throwaway character, almost has more backstory, has as much and maybe more backstory to her than we get for Carmilla, who is the major antagonist of season 4. A major, I guess. Barney / Death ends up becoming the ultimate, big boss battle, but not really though. Like, I mean, Carmilla throughout the majority of season 4 is the bad guy. So, and yet we have more backstory on Zamfir, who is a complete throwaway character, than we do on Carmilla in the end.
exactly.
And just, I mean, she's angry and she's hateful of men with power, and she vows to take over, to control humanity and the whole world, and that's the only thing that we're supposed to hate her for. And it's like, I'm with you. Like, I don't really feel anything about her plans because she's not really done anything to make me hate her. She's done nothing to make me feel sympathy towards her or hatred for her. So
Yeah,
it is like, yeah, she I mean, we agreed, I think, last episode that seasons 1 and 2 were planned down to the most minute detail, and then seasons 3 and 4 kind of like got thrown together when they realized that Netflix wanted a 3rd and 4th season.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, it's fine. It's just I'm frustrated as you are about Carmilla's lack of sympathy, empathy, anything as a character. Like, she's supposed to be a major player in season 4, and we feel nothing for her, which is, it's a bummer, and it detracts from my overall enjoyment of especially season 4. But from the moment we meet her, like, we don't really ever get anything, and it's just a bummer.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating. She seems like she's a badass character, but and after a while, she just seemed like a villain from like a kid's cartoon. Like, oh, I'm gonna take over the world just because I want to, ha 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 ha. Like, okay, it's just like,
and she hates Dracula because he's an old white man with power. Like, I did it again, old white man. He's got power. He's the most powerful master of the vampires. He's like the original vampire in this world. But she doesn't have a good reason to hate him. She hates him because he has emotions, because he was able to feel love for a human, which she thinks is beneath vampires, and like she has disdain for him. Like, she becomes very, very antagonistic towards him for no reason.
Yeah,
and
it's basically because she finds him weak, and
she covets what she. It's like she is no better than these men that she claims to hate, because she covets their power and she wants to take it and have the power and control everything. It's like, and if she controls everything, and I think that Striga and Marana, and to a lesser extent Lenore, they when they hear her plans that she wants to take over the whole world, they go, this is a bad idea. We're always going to be fighting. We're never going to get to relax. We're never going to get to see each other and hang out anymore. Carmilla, like I said, Striga and Marana for sure understood that Carmilla was going to end up being no better than these old white men that she hated so much.
Yeah, exactly.
These old men with the power that they misuse, that she claimed they misuse. Like, if you control that much territory, the whole world, you are not going to be able to use this to its best benefits either. So right. You will be no better than these old powerful men that you claim are so terrible. And she's got an irrational vendetta against every old man with power for it. So it's just like, yeah, it's just she's just such a incomplete character. It's just unfortunate how incomplete her whole arc is, and she doesn't really have an arc except she does go a little bit crazy. But even then, it's yeah.
Did you remember what you were going to bring up?
I didn't. There was a thing that happened in season 3 that never got resolved, and I'm gonna be pissed because I'm gonna probably remember it like 10 minutes after we're done with the show here, and then we're like, wait, everybody come back! I remembered. Fuck. I didn't write it down. I can't believe I didn't write it down. It probably was one of those things that went in and out of my brain so fast that I didn't even have time to write it down before it disappeared.
Yeah.
But whatever. Let's see. I just say I'm trying to look through here, look through the other notes, hoping to trip my memory. Astian said a cardboard cutout. That's what Carmilla is.
Yeah.
Basically.
Overall, when it really comes down to it, she was a boring character, and she
was she didn't love anything. She didn't even love the power that she was trying to get. She just wanted it because it belonged to powerful old men that she thought didn't deserve it. Yeah. She didn't even covet the power.
She just had really good fashion sense. I'll give her that.
That's true. She did have a very. I thought her hair was so straight and perfect, and it was white. And she didn't ever have any roots showing. It was pretty nice. Lenore is an interesting character. I thought that I called the whole she's gonna kill herself thing as soon as that scene started, because Hector was walking and paying way too much attention to the rising sun that he was concerned. And I was like, I know what's gonna happen now. She's gonna kill herself. She's tired and she's sad and she's gonna kill herself. And she, I think that the whole series could have probably been trimmed of her as well. Really, it could have been trimmed of all the vampire sisters except Carmilla, and Carmilla could have been replaced with anybody who wanted to, take over the world. It just they didn't have enough development. I think Lenore maybe had the most development of the others. We did learn how she became a vampire, she was mistreated in English, right? She was English and mistreated and then turned into a vampire. And we get some of her, we get more backstory from Lenore than we do from Carmilla. We get more backstory from everybody than Carmilla. It's just, and Carmilla is a major character. So it's just, it's disappointing. And we could always turn this shit. We could steer it right back to Carmilla and her lack of backstory. It's so frustrating. And Carmilla has no emotions either. She's just angry, which if she were human, I would be like, okay, girl, you got to get on some antidepressants because all you are is angry all the time. And that says to me that you're super depressed. And she goes so far as to taunt Lenore for liking Hector and for being affectionate to Hector. So it's why? You know that she's a softie. You knew that about her.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she should have taken up the that Viking vampire's proposal of just banging it out, and maybe she would be a little happier.
I think she might have. Yeah, I think she might have gotten something out of it. She should have. What was his name?
Sexy person. I don't know.
He was a very masculine dude, wasn't he? Episode 2. I'm gonna go back and find out his name because I know. Godbrand. His name is Godbrand.
Yeah, Godbrand. God, I should have remembered that.
Yeah, and he totally. Obviously he was not meant to ever be more important than just be a thorn in the side of the viewers, but he kept trying to get her to bone him, and she probably could have done well with it. I'm just saying. Yeah, you are totally correct there. I absolutely agree. And Saint Germain is an annoying character too. There's a lot of characters that just end up being not somebody that we care about, even though they're relatively or very important to the series. Saint Germain's pretty important, Carmilla's pretty important. We don't give a shit about them. And Varney, how the fuck is he ending up going from somebody we didn't even know about in the previous 3 seasons to being the one who orchestrated this entire 2-season arc. What the fuck was that about?
Yeah, that was a little.
It's just like he only ever once gives us any hint that he isn't who he seems, and that's when he literally says that he might not be who Ratko thinks he is. He's just a frustrating. It's like overall watching it, especially with a non-critical eye, I do enjoy all of it. But watching it with a critical eye, as I did, as I rewatched it to write my notes and stuff on this for this show, that's where all the sloppy character backstory stuff really starts to show up. And if you rewatch it, I mean, even if you're not watching it with a critical eye, if you're rewatching it, you're probably going to notice all this stuff, and it's probably going to irritate you. But that being said, even with this stuff irritating me, I can say I'll probably watch it again sometime, and I'll enjoy it. So yeah, over the whole series, like we said before, definitely season 2 best season. And that season, like, it rips your heart out. It leaves you on a sad note. Like, it's such a good, it's emotionally evocative season. Season 1, I think, is the second best because it sets you up for season 2. Like, you go into season 2 knowing what you need to know to be emotionally torn apart by season 2. Season 4 is better than season 3 in my opinion, because it just has a tidier storyline, whereas season 3 gets confusing with all the bouncing around from story to story. And like I said last episode, the whole thing with Alucard and Taka and Sumi, it was all just to keep Alucard relevant, and maybe to make him a little bit more vagabond Trevor like. But he could have done that with just the whole going crazy from loneliness. Like, they didn't need that weird vampire sex stuff. They didn't. I mean, I appreciate it, but they didn't need it.
I guess they wanted you to see that he does have both sides to him, his mother and his father, with stake in their bodies. But season 3 was just boring. I mean, that's what it comes down to for me. It was just really boring. Season 2, definitely, like you just said, you have drama, you have comedy, you have awesome action. You have, I think the characters are most likable in that season as well. And it's just, it was a very well-rounded season. You get a little bit of everything.
Yeah. And the only major player that we don't get that backstory and that emotional connection to is Carmilla. And that, unfortunately, it carries through the rest of the series, which sucks. But what are you going to do, I guess? Like,
yeah. I mean, even still, it was still the best season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because we didn't care that we didn't really have a backstory on Carmilla because everything else was so good about it. So yeah, I didn't care. I mean, like I said, rewatching it with a critical eye, I definitely had thoughts about her lack of backstory, but yeah, like overall, it wasn't that important to me because all the other stuff was so good. Like, I mean, how fucking cool is Isaac? Fucking cool. So, yeah, I guess that's it for me about this series. I liked it. I will probably be watching the new series when it comes out. I'm sure I will. I mean, I absolutely will watch it, unless I'm dead at the time. I don't know. It's coming out. I'm definitely gonna watch it though, and I'm hoping I'm not dead at the time.
That was pretty dark.
Well, you never can say for sure. I mean, you just don't know. Yeah. And I did almost get killed by a deer on the road last night. So.
Oh, not good. That's scary.
Yeah. Well, it's just annoying because it's late at night and you're driving, and we were tired because we were out in the sun watching. How redneck is this? We were watching a tractor pull. Normally, I'm normally not into tractor pulls at all, but my brothers were in the tractor pulls, and it was the local event. So I was like, yeah, I'll watch it. It's fun, cool. And they ended up both pulling like first and third or second and fourth in their class, and they both pulled these amazing pulls, and then immediately everybody else blasted past them, and they ended up getting like 7th and 8th place or some shit. But yes, I agree with Astian. We needed more Pirate of the Roads, and we needed the demon goat with the flaming pecker or whatever it was. I can't remember that one, but like we needed all this shit. Where was it?
Oh my god.
Season 4 gripe. Barney reveals I'm death before Jermaine finishes his work. Why? Jermaine was gonna do the thing anyway, so let him finish and then spring the surprise. Barney / death. Yeah. Flaming turds. Yes, that was the goat head. Flaming turds. Yes.
I don't know. I like flaming pecker better.
Wouldn't that be something to see?
Oh my god.
How do they make more demon goats with the flaming pecker?
Oh my god.
Do they have icy? The other goats, like the female demon goats, have like icy vaginas. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe that's how those goats are made, with that drunken guy that was, screwing all of them.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I have a. I mean, yeah, the season 4 reveal, the big reveal that Barney gives about he's death. Yeah, there was no reason. Was there? I didn't. That's a good point. There was no reason for Barney to tell Saint Germain that he was death before Saint Germain did the thing. So why did he tell him that? Yeah, that was stupid. And then it would have been. I mean, obviously he still got what he wanted for a moment before Trevor showed up, but it would have been easier. He wouldn't have had to force anything. He could have just sat back and let him do it. Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, I missed that one. That's a good point. It was stupid, but yeah. If anybody watches this after the fact, after the live stream, and has thoughts on it, definitely let us know. You can post a new thread in the UHS Presents Awesome Comics and other cool shit too, that group. Which also, by the way, we decided we wanted to keep doing other episodes of Critical Affection. Cable Foster on Twitch, he said that it's a pretty good name and it'd be hard to top. So I don't know. Maybe we'll just keep it. I don't know. We'll talk about it. And then let you know. Let all the viewers, all the fans know. But anywho's, we decided we wanted to do more, and so we were thinking about letting everybody choose the movie that we were going to do next, because we're going to do a movie because I think overall it's going to be a little easier for us and a little more enjoyable for you. So we're going to pick, since Astian's being the most talkative here, like we can ask your opinion on it too. You, Julie, you had a list, was Titanic, Wizard of Oz, The Godfather, Frozen, which, yes, A Quiet Place, and Avatar, and movies that you thought were overrated.
Correct.
And I agree. I think, well, I actually haven't seen Avatar because it was because they took the name Avatar, and I was pissed off at them because then our Avatar movie had to be called The Last Airbender. But then it turned out that movie sucked too, so I guess I have softened, but now I'm just not really interested in Avatar. So, and I have not seen A Quiet Place, but I do want to. It's been a long time since I've seen the others. I think that I want to scratch Titanic off the list, not because I disagree with you, but because it's like a 3-hour-long movie, which I guess could also be said about The Godfather.
True.
Cable Foster said, those sound like fun picks. I am just going to throw my hat in the ring with Hocus Pocus, a classic not just for Halloween. I love Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's full of many, many things that didn't get tied up neatly with a bow at the end. But yeah, I definitely, it's a fabulous movie.
It's funny how popular that movie is now versus when it came out.
Yeah, nobody gave a shit about it when it came out.
Yeah, it's kind of turned into a dare I say, a cult classic,
Yeah.
nowadays. And now there's merchandise out the ass for it, which I'm not gonna complain about. But yeah, exactly. That's kind of the point I'm getting to is I can't really be critical about it because it's a great movie though. So I'd be hard to
Yeah.
find little things to pick
Yeah,
at
I
it too.
think that we could probably pick it apart on like did it age well kind of stuff, which
Mm.
I have the same. It brings to mind Labyrinth. Like fucking Labyrinth is such a great movie. It's such a fun movie to watch, but it is also full of many like what the hell's going on here? That doesn't make sense. Then you get to the end of the movie and you're like, but what about all that other shit? Like it's got a lot of shit that you can be critical about, and it's got I guess a little bit that you could be critical about on a whether or not it aged well, societally speaking. But I mean, it's mostly puppets. So if you're talking about like inclusivity, like yeah, there's no black people in it, but they're mostly puppets. There's only 2 humans in the whole thing, but they are both white. But one of them's David Bowie, and I think he transcends race and gender and humanity in general. I mean, oh, the baby doesn't count. He was barely even an actor, barely even there. Imagine that kid today gets to say, I was in Labyrinth, I got to sit on David Bowie's lap, but he doesn't even remember it because he was like 6 months old when it happened.
Yeah, David Bowie like sang a song to me and like danced with me. Like, yeah.
A song that made no sense in the context of the movie, by the way. Like that Dance Magic Dance.
I love that song.
I love almost all of the songs. I love them, but like if you watch it with a critical eye, you're going, "This why the fuck did they sing that song? It didn't further the plot at all." Like in a genuine musical, the songs.
Bowie, and he needs
that's why it doesn't matter.
Oh,
that's why it's fine with me that they don't make sense in the context of the movie. Anyway, I put a handful. Like we ended up talking about a shit ton of them. I said Spirited Away was an overrated movie. Like I think it's a good movie. I think it's a fun movie, but it's not the big deal that everybody likes to say it is. Like everybody's like, oh, it's the best Ghibli movie and all that shit. I was like, is it though?
There's better ones.
Yeah, The Cat Returns is fucking weird and amazing.
Nobody knows that one.
I know, and they shouldn't. They should know that movie because it's a fucking amazing movie. It's so fucking weird. I love it. What else? What other movies did I say were overrated? I did say Frozen 2. The whole Star Wars original trilogy. Good movies. All of them. Good movies, but overrated. Most of Tarantino's movies, I said. Except for Django. Django was basically perfect. Love Actually, very overrated. Everybody's all, what amazing romantic comedy that is. I was like, is it though? I was like Thor, like, is it though?
That's one I haven't seen, so
it is on Netflix right now, and I watched it for the first time several weeks ago. I think before we started doing this, but the point is like I was like, why does everybody think this is such a good, fun movie? It does have some memorable moments, but it's like they're kind of cringy moments. In all fairness, like I think so. I mentioned on the stream, I think last week, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I fucking love that movie, but it is kind of a garbage movie if you really watch it critically. And I did point out to Julie that the Twilight Saga is on Netflix and she refuses to watch it. So if you guys wanted us to do that one, I'm sorry, but you are shit out of luck. Back to the Future. I wrote Back to the Future is another one. Beautiful Mind, overrated. Good movie, but overrated. People talk about it like I said. People talk about it like it's life changing, but it is not. So anyway, we need to narrow that list down to like 5 movies, and then we're gonna put a poll up in Unlikely Heroes Studios Presents Awesome Comics and other cool shit to the Facebook group for UHS for Unlikely Heroes Studios. We're gonna put a poll up, but first we have to make our list here. So our list is, like I said, I'm personally gonna, I think I want to strike 2 from your list, and I want you to strike whatever you think from my list. So you had picked Titanic, Wizard of Oz, Godfather, Frozen, Quiet Place, and Avatar. And I picked Spirited Away, Love Actually. I mean, I did pick most of Tarantino's movies, but that's kind of a big list. So the Star Wars original trilogy, Back to the Future trilogy. A Beautiful Mind. That's what I picked. So we got to narrow that list down to like 5. And then we'll put the poll of the remaining 5 up. So, and we've got like, we're already getting close to the 2-hour mark, and we did say we wanted to keep it to an hour and a half, and we're failing so hard on that. We haven't had a single the last one was under 2 hours, but it was really close to 2 hours. But the point is that we're never going to get it to that fucking hour and a half point. So, okay. The movies. Okay, so I moved to strike Titanic and The Godfather just because they're really long. Not because they're inadequate choices, just because they're very long. I have a limited amount of time and attention span. So I moved to strike those. So that leaves Wizard of Oz, Frozen, A Quiet Place, and Avatar on your list. Actually, Avatar's kind of long too, but because I have not seen that one yet, I'm going to leave that one.
Oh my God, bless you.
Thank you. And Spirited Away, Star Wars. If we don't strike Star Wars, we're gonna have to choose one movie.
That was gonna be my question. Okay.
Yeah, like we can't do all 3 movies because we learned from the immense job that Castlevania has been. It was a labor of love, but it was too much. Like, it's going to be better if we do a single movie per episode. So if we do not take Star Wars off the list, then we have to narrow it down to one movie, which I'm thinking the first one, episode 4.
Well, let me take care of it right now. I would strike Star Wars off because I feel like it's been talked about so much and so often that
that's fair.
You know, like hundreds of people have like critiqued it. You know,
you're right. You're right. That's
so
very.
I would just kind of nix that one.
Gotcha. I agree. I guess I can leave Pride and Prejudice and Zombies on the list. I just mentioned it. I didn't mention it specifically for my list, but I did mention that because I was like, I love it and I want to watch it again. And it is on Tubi, which is that free one that you watch. You have to watch commercials, but it's free. But it's free to watch.
Gotcha.
And then so Back to the Future. I'm gonna say the original Back to the Future. A Beautiful Mind, Spirited Away. What was I?
Okay.
Yeah, Love Actually. So I got Love Actually. I've got Spirited Away. I've got I'll leave Pride and Prejudice and Zombies on there. And Back to the Future. So I've got A Beautiful Mind. I've got 5 on there. So
I would say A Beautiful Mind, just because I kind of recently rewatched that, and again, while I agree it's a great movie, I don't really want to rewatch it again.
Okay, so we're striking back A Beautiful Mind here. So I gotta write these down. I keep fucking so Back to the Future, Pride, Reg. We said, goddamn bugs. Love Actually. And Spirited Away. And we probably should try to make sure that these movies are easily available on the streaming platforms that you and I have too. So I think that might strike Spirited Away, because I don't think that any Ghibli movies are on streaming.
I think HBO Max has them, but I don't know.
I don't have HBO Max, so
I think you just have to discuss that at a later time, like what's available to each other.
We'll narrow it down to like 6 or 7. Then we'll narrow it down to 6 to 7 choices, and then we'll just strike off any that are not available on a streaming service that we have, and then we can post the poll in the Facebook group from there. So you had Wizard of Oz, Frozen, Quiet Place, and Avatar. So that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So job done. Well, we are gonna discuss off stream which one of these we can't, which ones that we can watch, which ones we can't on our collective streaming services, and then tonight, I think, because we don't need to take long figuring that out, right? So tonight we will post that poll, and everybody can go to Facebook. And if you haven't joined our group, it's just type in Unlikely Hero Studios Presents in your search, and eventually it should pop up. And if it doesn't, go to facebook.com/Unlikely Hero Studios and send us a message, and I will send you the link to the group. So that, I mean, because I want everybody, if there's anybody who's watching that's not already a member, I want you to be able to vote and join in that group. So yeah, let's do that. And yeah, I think we're done. I think that you should definitely watch Castlevania if you haven't. And if you haven't watched Castlevania, what the fuck are you doing watching this stream? Because we just spoiled everything for you. And have a wonderful evening. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Oh yeah, that's it. That was the other thing. Next week, we have our episode is called Vocal Pros, and we're gonna be talking with Bo Foster. Lori and I are gonna be talking with Bo Foster. Unfortunately, that's a Julie's off week, but unless you want to come, like, that's fine too. But we're gonna be talking to Bo Foster about voice acting, and Bo's TikTok, I believe, is also Bo Foster. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Yeah, the Bo Foster. Yes, the Bo Foster. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about voice acting and your extremely popular TikTok that apparently has a lot of teenage girls just very, what's the word that the hip kids use now, like they stan you, I don't know. Anyway, I've known of Bo since I've known his brother, which has been like fucking 15 years now. I think I've known Eric for so long that I don't even remember how long it's been. But anyway, we're going to talk to him next week about voice acting, and I've got lots of questions, and it's going to be really fun, and yeah, I'm excited for that one. So we'll see you next week for that. Don't forget to go check out the Hot Brass Pharaoh's Gold backer kit store. You don't have it's a very limited amount of time that you can do that. I think there's like maybe another week, maybe. And so do that. Join us next week, same bat time, same bat channel. And I think that's it for now, for real. So yeah, have a good night, everybody. Have a good rest of your week. Stay cool, and see you later. Bye.